All right, Freddy Krueger lovers, this story is for you. Imagine the scene. You go to bed after a long, busy day, but in the middle of the night, your peaceful dream gets interrupted by an unexpected guest, and he looks like this. You've never seen this strange face before. He says something nice to you, or maybe he begins to threaten and even chase you all over the place. Also, he might just stare at you in silence with a mysterious Mona Lisa smile. You wake up the next morning. Whew, thank goodness it was just a dream. You scroll down your feed and suddenly, the very same face is looking back at you from the screen. Is that even possible? Well, yes and no. This man is an urban legend that has haunted many people's dreams in recent decades. According to the story, he first started appearing in dreams in the 1980s, and the first sketch of his face was created in a New York mental clinic in the winter of 2006. One patient of a well-known psychiatrist drew a portrait that eventually went viral. According to her, this man has been repeatedly appearing in her dreams, although she's never seen him in the waking world. And unlike Freddy, he acted pretty friendly and even offered her some advice on her private life. Soon after that, another patient noticed the portrait on the doctor's desk. He recognized that face and claimed to be dreaming of him regularly too. The second patient has never seen this man beyond the dream world either. The psychiatrist found this case curious and showed the portrait to some of his colleagues. Multiple patients also recognized this face and said they'd been seeing this man frequently in their own dreams. And from that time until today, thousands of alleged witnesses all over the globe reported the very same story in plenty of variations. A website creator from Italy, Andrea Natella, told the media that he first dreamt of this man in the winter of 2008. In his dream, he received a very specific message from this man who told him to create a website dedicated to solving the mystery of his appearance. According to Natella, he decided to follow this instruction and made an online platform aimed at collecting stories shared by dreamers all over the world. The website gained a lot of attention and soon became a viral sensation. Some people posted funny and cute stories. For example, this man appeared in a dream as a father figure, giving wise fortune cookie advice. Or as a romantic partner with gifts and flowers, taking the dreamer on a fancy date. One of the witnesses claimed to have dreamt about this man being a school teacher from Brazil with 6 fingers on his right hand. But others reported experiencing some creepy nightmares that made them wake up shaking and sweating. There's little information about the voice of this mysterious guy, perhaps because it's typically harder for the human brain to remember sounds from dreams compared to pictures. However, there are some common trends in this man's message, such as telling dreamers to go north. Of course, thousands of people tried to find an actual living human that looks exactly like this man. They sent Natella many letters with different guesses, from ordinary people from the block to celebrities. Some suggested movie characters like the man from Another Place from Twin Peaks. English composer Andrew Lloyd Webber also joined the list, and even an Indian guru named Arudkanan Aya. But despite the variety of wild guesses and funny memes, the original This Man was never found. Over the years, many brave minds tried to crack this mystery, which was getting more and more viral, and multiple theories popped up. Let's take a look at some of them. Remember the iconic dream surfer played by Leonardo DiCaprio? Well, the first theory is kinda similar to the famous movie plot. It suggests that this man is a real person who can enter people's dreams using some secret psychological skills. Unfortunately, this theory has the lowest scientific credibility, which isn't surprising. Unmasking is the last thing that dream surfers need, right? While some believed that this man is a superhero who shows his actual life face, others thought he looked completely different in the waking world. Meanwhile, more pessimistic individuals suspected a global brainwashing experiment going on behind those innocent, fluffy eyebrows. But since the dream space is one of the most poorly explored territories, it's pretty hard to get solid evidence to support any of these ideas. Another popular explanation is based on Carl Jung's psychoanalytical theory. It suggests that this man is an archetypal image from the collective unconscious. It visits the dreamer to point at particularly sensitive subjects and helps release psychic power to cope with hard times. Some take mysticism to the next level and associate this man with the universal consciousness. Those who adhere to this theory believe that their creator takes this specific form to communicate through their dreams. That's why the orders they receive from him must be followed undoubtedly. Pretty scary, huh? Science offers a simpler explanation, though. This theory is a mix of psychology and sociology. It claims that the whole "this man" phenomenon has arisen and developed thanks to imitation. People who come across the picture and his story get deeply impressed, and after that, they just begin seeing him in their dreams. In simple words, he only haunts those who make him a thing. And there's another curious explanation which is based on humans' tendency to forget faces from their dreams. Let's say you're dreaming of your favorite actor. Then he turns into your uncle. And then he smoothly takes the form of your yoga teacher, who you only met once 10 years ago. This character tells you something important or just leaves some specific emotional impression. You wake up in the morning still feeling this aftertaste, but you have no clue who exactly you were dreaming of. That's when the daytime recognition theory steps in. It claims that the brain uses this man's face to fill the void when the person is trying to remember the dream in a waking state. It chooses this particular face just because the dreamer remembers it more vividly. Okay, but this explanation only works for those who dreamt of this man after seeing his portrait. But what about those who didn't? Can the human brain actually create any new faces in dreams? According to science, the answer is no. Every individual you dream of has been someone you have either known or merely came across. Of course, you may dream of someone you barely recognize because you've seen them only once, but the brain remembers everything. It keeps a library of all the hundreds of thousands of faces that you see every day. So, according to science, this man is either your old friend or a system bug. As creepy as it sounds. Are you scared yet? Take it easy. In 2010, the website creator Andrea Natelli made a post where he confessed that the story of this man was just a prank. Nutella never verified whether this prank had a commercial purpose, but still, he managed to gain attention in Hollywood. A production company named Ghost House Pictures purchased this man's website domain, and in 2010, they announced plans to make a horror movie based on this epic viral trend. Their press release promised a story about a common man who discovers that people he has never met are seeing him in their dreams. And now he's on a mission to find out why he's the source of nightmares happening all over the globe. However, no further statements about the movie have ever since been made. Is it because of business calculations or this man's curse? I guess we'll never know. Prank or not, people to this day keep on sharing fresh stories about this man visiting them in their dreams. There are more urban legends about haunted dreams than you don't want to Google before bedtime. But for now, have a good night, my curious friends.
Alrighty, folks. Gather around and let me tell you about the Manananggal, a real charmer of a mythical creature from Filipino folklore. She's often described as a lady who likes to snack on sleeping pregnant women. But here's the twist. During the day, she's all dolled up and looking like a total babe. But come nightfall, she detaches her torso and spreads her massive bat-like wings to fly off into the darkness in search of her next victim. And she doesn't just stop at pregnant ladies. Nope. Sometimes she'll use her good looks to lead astray men and take them to her secret hiding spot where she'll feast on their heart, intestines, and other internal organs all night long. Yikes. If you're ever faced with a Manananggal and want to stop her from reattaching her body before sunrise, just sprinkle some salt, ash, or crushed garlic on the remaining half of her body. Easy peasy, right? So keep an eye out for this winged wonder and don't forget the garlic! Okay, so check this out. In German folklore, there's this crazy creature called an Alp. Basically, it's like a vampire, mixed with an incubus. And it wears this dope hat called a Tarn cap. that gives it all kinds of powers. This dude is all about preying on women at night by messing with their dreams. Oh, and it's into breast milk and sucking the blood of men and kids. The Alp can shapeshift into all kinds of stuff, like cats, pigs, dogs, snakes, and even butterflies. And it's got this evil eye that can totally mess you up with bad luck or sickness. But don't worry, you can protect yourself by hiding a broomstick under your pillow, pointing your shoes towards the door, hanging iron horseshoes from the bedpost, or putting a mirror on your chest. And if all else fails, just leave the lights on all night and shove a lemon in its mouth if you catch it napping during the day. Meet the Pontia Nuk, a spooky ghost from Malay mythology. Legend has it that she was a woman who passed away while giving birth, and now she's out for revenge. She's not your average ghost either. She's got long black hair, sharp fingernails, and a blood-smeared white dress. But watch out, because she's also a master of disguise. She can transform into a beautiful woman to lure in her prey before ripping out their insides. If you're ever out at night and hear the cries of babies or feminine laughter, beware. That could be the Pontia Nuk coming to get you. And if the sounds are quiet, she might be right around the corner. So keep your wits about you, and don't fall for any too-good-to-be-true ladies. Hey, did you know that according to Irish legend, every family has their very own banshee? This banshee lady is supposed to let out a piercing wail or shout when someone in the family is about to kick the bucket. Talk about a not-so-subtle warning, but don't let her eerie cry trick you. This banshee lady is said to be drop-dead gorgeous with long flowing locks and crimson eyes from all her crying. She's also known for wearing a gray shawl over her green threads. Fashionable and spooky? We're into it. Some people even say that this banshee can transform into a sweet-singing young lady who foretells the doom of the family. Yikes. And if that's not enough to give you goosebumps, she's also been spotted hunched over in the woods, crying her eyes out at night. Sounds like a real party animal, doesn't she? So next time you hear a blood-curdling scream in the middle of the night, just remember, it might just be your friendly neighborhood banshee giving you a heads up. Now let me tell you about the Kalupilluit. These creatures are like the boogeyman of the Arctic. They live near the ice floes and are known for snatching up kids who get too close to the water. But don't worry, it's just a myth to keep children safe. Now, the appearance of these critters varies from story to story, but they all have some things in common. They've got slimy green skin, long hair, and long fingernails. Their hands are webbed like a fish, and they wear these fancy parkas made out of eider duck feathers. Oh, and watch out for their flippers. One of them can emit a sound that'll paralyze you. But don't fret, you can outsmart them. Some clever Inuit hunters figured out that if they asked the Kalupilluit to shapeshift into a seal or whale, they could easily finish it and bring home a tasty catch. Yum! Some stories say that these creatures use kidnapped children to keep their hair looking fabulous. Talk about dedication to hair care. Others say that the kids are just devoured or used to fuel the Kalupilluit's youth. But here's a wild tale for you. There was once a grandma who couldn't feed her grandson, so she called upon a Kalupilluit to take him away. The tribe eventually got back on their feet, and a young couple went to rescue the boy. They found him tethered to seaweed by the Kalupilluit, but every time they got close, she'd drag him back underwater. They ended up waiting until sunrise to cut him loose. Yeah, the Kalupilluit may be spooky, but they're just looking out for the kiddos. And who knows? Maybe they'll give you some hair care tips if you're lucky enough to meet one. Let me present to you the scariest horse-like monster in all of Scotland, the Nucklavi, or Nuckalavi. This bad boy has a skinless body, a head 10 times bigger than a human's, and a breath so poisonous it can destroy animals and crops. So, it's got wicked powers that can cause chaos all over the islands. But fear not, because there's an old spirit known as the Sea Myther who can control this terrifying beast during the summer months. The Nucklavi has roots in Norse and Orcadian folklore, and was first documented by the mysterious Joe Ben using some fancy Latin manuscripts back in the 16th century. Ernest Marwick, an Orcadian writer and folklorist, thinks that this evil sea creature is similar to the Norwegian Knock, the Nuggle of the Shetland, and the shape-shifting Kelpie or water Kelpie. So, if you're ever out and about in Scotland and come across this scary guy, just remember, Call on the sea mither and run for your life. This dude is South African Tokolosha. It may look like a gremlin, but trust me, it's way more mischievous. Apparently, witches and shamans can summon them with their magical powers, but there are ways to keep these troublemakers in check. One way is to give them some curdled milk. Apparently it's their favorite, and trim their hair so they can see. If that doesn't work, you can call in a witch doctor to use some good old-fashioned magic to exorcise them away. Now, according to South African folklore, these tokoloshes are mostly invisible and can suck on a stone to stay that way. So, if you want to keep them away from your home, scatter some special blessed salts, aka tokoloshe salts, along your door frames and windowsills. Or if you're feeling extra cautious, put some bricks under your bed's legs. Better safe than sorry, right? Have you heard of the Chimera? She's a total monster, literally. This fire-breathing female hybrid is made up of all sorts of animal parts. Think lion-like body, goat-like head, and a tail that ends in a snake's head. According to Greek mythology, the Chimera is the child of Typhon and Echidna, and her sisters are Cerberus and Lernaean Hydra. Sounds like a family reunion, huh? But don't worry, our hero Bellerophon was up for the challenge. The king of Lycia sent him on a mission to defeat the fearsome Chimera, and Bellerophon was the greatest hero monsters were scared of. The Chimera was no match for Bellerophon and his trusty Pegasus. Even though the king was secretly hoping the Chimera would take out Bellerophon instead, in the end, justice prevailed, and the Chimera was defeated. Well, that's it for today.
You're alone in a dark alleyway when you hear a lion's roar. Peeking out of the shadows, the king of the jungle stares at your face and runs directly towards you. You try sprinting to get away from him, but it looks like your legs and arms are moving through jello-like air. That's when you spot an old phone booth and manage to get inside it. But how do you even call anyone in one of these things? Where's your smartphone? The world of dreams is a crazy one, to say the least. It's a safe place to live out our deepest and darkest fears. But regardless of what common knowledge says, it's not where all things are possible. For example, you'll most likely never dream of your smartphone, and you'll have a pretty hard time trying to run. Why though? Scientists are still studying why humans dream, so there's a lot we don't know about the science of dreaming just yet. But there's a theory that helps to explain why we have a hard time dreaming of modern things, such as smartphones, computers, and even airplanes. It's called the threat simulation hypothesis. Let's call it the TSH. This theory says that by living our deepest fears and anxieties through our dreams, we are practicing how we would react to them in real life. That's why so many people relive traumatic experiences in dream states. The brain is trying to condition us to survive threatening situations by practicing them out in a safe environment, aka the sleeping state. So, if you dream you're being chased in the woods by a bear or you're trying to finish that math exam without studying, this is your brain anticipating possible reactions by trying them out in a dream state first. It makes you sharp and aware in case these things do happen to you in real life. Should we thank our brains for this? I think so, yeah. But that's just one half of the story. Scientists also argue that since the dream state evolved as a defense mechanism, we tend to dream about situations that were dangerous to our ancestors. So, modern technologies such as computers and smartphones will rarely appear in people's dreams. Notice I said rarely? That means it's not universal. According to an analysis of 16,000 dream reports, smartphones do seem to appear in 3.55% of women's dreams, while computers appeared in only 1.2%. It's a very small number, but still, some people have the luxury or the haunt of dreaming about their cell phone. But why can't we run though? I don't know about you, but I'm always trying and failing to run in my dreams. There are a couple of reasons why that might happen. Some dream experts suggest that it might be because when we're sleeping, our brain is active, but our muscles are relaxed and lying still. Some conflicting signals may happen, which results in the running through water movement we feel in a dream state. Another theory says that when we're dreaming, we're engaging in a constant act of world building. Our brain is building the scenarios we're engaging with, processing all the information that's unfolding before us. If we started running, maybe the brain wouldn't be able to keep up with the world building. So our dream avatars are slowed down to a speed that is compatible with the brain's processing speed. You're flying above crystalline sea waters. The wind is brushing through your hair. You look around, and there's a pig-faced pelican smiling at you. It approaches you and starts to tickle your nose with its feathers. You laugh, but you can't feel a thing. What's up with that? Here's a fun fact. Even lucid dreamers can't feel ticklish when they're dreaming. In case you don't know, lucid dreaming happens when a person is aware that they're dreaming and starts to constantly narrate the course of their dreams. It's where you get to be the scriptwriter and director of your own life. Scientists speculate that lucid dreaming is not a state of sleep, but rather a state of wakefulness where the person can establish a so-called two-way communication between dreaming and real life. Does this remind you a little bit of the movie Inception? If it does, that's because Christopher Nolan took inspiration from his experience with lucid dreaming in order to write this movie. Anyways, in a study published by a neuroscience journal, researchers worked with lucid dreamers to see if they could tickle themselves or be tickled by other characters in their dreams. And they found something quite amazing. Dreamers couldn't feel the tickles. Researchers think this suggests that when we're dreaming, the part of the brain that reacts to stimuli is minimized. And let's face it, that's a good thing when you're dreaming you're stuck inside a house catching fire, right? Now let's say you just woke up from an agitated dream. You spent the night dreaming you were at a rock concert where the band members were your childhood stuffed animals. You remember all the minor details of the dream, but you can't seem to remember any of the melodies the teddy bear band was singing. Why is that so? Most people don't or can't dream of music. But that seems so strange since music is a huge part of our daily lives. The only ones who do seem to dream and remember the soundtrack of their sleeping lives are musicians. To understand this a bit more, we have to look at another dream theory. In 1983, scientists came up with a neurobiological theory called reverse learning. This theory says that during our REM sleep cycles, the neocortex reviews our daily neural connections and decides what to do with them. That's when our short-term memory is tucked away in the long-term memory section of our brain. And it's also the moment when our brain cleans up. It dumps the unnecessary neural connections and tries to keep the important ones. In this theory, dreams are the result of this unlearning process. Say you've been dealing with some anxiety regarding your work. You suspect you might get fired and that's all you think about. Your brain makes up different make-believe scenarios, playing out a series of interactions that end up never happening in real life. Some of these neural connections will be deleted from your brain database while you sleep. This is what might happen to music. The dreaming mind treats music as parasitic and non-essential, preventing it from ever making it to the long-term memory pile. If you think about it, our brain kind of protects us from having that cheesy melody stuck with us for eternity. Let's do a quick thought exercise. Consider that an average human being spends about 2 hours dreaming every night. That means by the time that you're 80 years old, you'll have dreamed the equivalent of 60,000 hours. That's 10 years worth of dreaming. Crazy, huh? Now imagine if our brains didn't erase a cheesy melody we listened to more times than we would have liked. I can't even begin to imagine the overload of information our brains would have been able to stock. Moving on. You know what else you can't do while you're dreaming? Experience things in real time. We just said we spend an average of 2 hours dreaming each night, but on average, we sleep around 8 hours, and it does feel like we spent all those hours dreaming. According to recent research, a simple action that might take 5 minutes in waking life to be performed can take much longer in a dream. They tested this out with lucid dreamers, where scientists would ask them to perform a task and signal when they're done, while the researchers timed everything. Perhaps that's why we get the impression we dream for 8 hours straight every night. Tell me one thing though, how many of you even remember your dreams? According to statistics, half of us remember at least one dream a week. And women are more likely to remember their dreams compared to men. Care to tell us about any recent dreams of yours?